when and where were you born?
Okay, I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida on January 3rd, 1985.
January 3rd? I was born January 24th.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And then, how many siblings do you have?
I have one younger brother.
Just one?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
I have 3 siblings. Yeah, 2 sisters and 1 younger brother.
Okay.
2 older sisters, yeah.
Cool.
Because, there's like a stereotype about African American women having so many children.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with Indians. My mom had, as a total in the family, she had 6. So it was like,
Okay.
including her, it was 6 in her family.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, even my parents, like my dad came from a big family. He has probably, oh gosh, I really can't give an accurate count, but at least 4 or 5 plus him on his mother's side, and his father's side with your half siblings. He probably has maybe 7, 8, 9. And then on my mother's side, she has 4 brothers. 3 from her mom's side, 1 from her dad's side. So she's the only girl on both sides.
Oh, wow.
And she's the oldest. So, yeah.
Did she get spoiled when she was the only
Yeah,
girl?
she was actually more work for her. Yeah, taking care of her brothers.
Yeah,
Because she was the oldest. So.
I think now they're reducing that size and
Yes,
size. Kids
absolutely.
is like 1 or 2, and they're like just done.
Right, because even like I think about my grandmother, my mom's mother, they probably had 17, 19, but of course that was like half siblings and siblings from prior marriages. So I can see the trend like now smaller family size, absolutely.
Yeah, wow. Are you married? If so, do you have any kids?
Yes, I am married. I have 2 children, a girl 8 years old, Victory, and a son, Gideon. He is 3.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
So I know that you went to UCF. Why did you choose that college?
Well, it was actually interesting because I was considering Florida A&M at first. My major was health information management. So I was considering going to Tallahassee, Florida A&M, which is actually a historically black college. But after doing some more research, I found, UCF had the program that I was interested in. It was kind of closer to home and a little less money at the time. So I decided to go there. I actually went to St. Petersburg College for 2 years, did my associate's degree, and then transferred to UCF.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the degree that you got was in health management?
Health information management. Right, that was my bachelor's, and then my graduate degree was healthcare informatics.
Oh, so you did extra 4 years? Or
it was like extra 2 years.
Extra 2 years? Nice.
Yeah.
So, what career did you choose?
Well, I'm in the career field, health information management, and what happened when I graduated, I was already working part-time with an organization, Orlando Health, and I worked with them part-time, and then I transitioned to another position in Rockledge, Florida, which is kind of close to like Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, and I worked there part-time as well until I established a full-time position at Orlando Health. And then I actually had the opportunity to do an internship with the VA in West Palm Beach. So I moved from Orlando to West Palm. I did the 2-year internship there, and then I came here to Tampa.
Wow. Wow, you had a lot of experience.
Yeah, great.
How long have you been working here specifically?
Okay, so I came here in April 2013. Yeah. So I've been with the overall Department of Veteran Affairs. I've been with them since September 2011.
Wow, that's pretty long.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy about working here?
Well, I enjoy working with the patients. My grandfather was a Vietnam War veteran, so just being able to give back, to the patients and even the co-workers who are veterans. It's good to work with them and learn from them different things that they've learned, just not even in the military, but just within the organization itself. I actually enjoy kind of like the technical aspect of what I do, just being, a supervisor as far as being able to train new people, answer questions, and kind of being the point of contact for my service within the organization. We play a big role, obviously, as you've seen, with everything from medical record documentation, privacy, security, confidentiality. So I kind of enjoy being that go-to person with those topics.
That's good. You're doing a pretty good job,
Thank
you. So was this what you wanted to do all your life, or did you plan on doing something else, like as a child? How we change careers and
Absolutely.
stuff? So.
Great question. Actually, interesting enough, when I started college, I was interested in kind of being like a blind rehabilitation specialist, like going into education for the School of the Blind. And I was actually thinking about going to Florida State for that. and kind of changed after research. I actually was able to meet someone and shadow someone in that position. And unfortunately, I think not so much the job turned me away, but the salary. I hate to say teachers don't make a whole lot. So I always liked the healthcare field. I kind of think back to my aunt, who's a respiratory therapist. And I remember from a little girl, just like the fact that she worked at a hospital, I just thought was amazing. But then I actually, while I was in college, I worked as like a home health aide as well. I had a lot of different side jobs. I worked as a home health aide, and that's really hands-on. Like, you're not quite a nurse, obviously, but you're kind of like that person who assists with basic living essentials and tasks. But I didn't really like the hands-on part of healthcare. And I was like, well, I definitely don't want to be a nurse, definitely don't want to be a doctor. So I kind of researched and said, well, what else is there to do? Like, I want to do healthcare, but again, not the hands-on aspect. So then I kind of stumbled upon health information management.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat as you were back in the day, because I'm like, I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be a nurse.
Yeah.
What should I be? But I think I'm kind of leaning towards being a doctor, like OD, like optometry.
Right, and there's so many, that's the great part of healthcare, there's so many avenues, like, you don't have to be a surgeon, obviously, like hands-on and, blood and all that. So many different aspects, like vocational rehab, you have, again, like you said, the optometry, dentistry, there's so many other aspects that are real interesting and just as important.
Just out of curiosity, was there anyone in your family that was a slave, like ancestors?
Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't really have like factual like documents, but I did at one point, because we have like family reunions every few years. Right. So actually, our last reunion a couple years ago, I was able to do like some research with like the gosh, I wish I knew the name. It's kind of like your family tree. It's a historical website. You can go and look at like the census records. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's like a common search tool.
Yeah.
Ancestry.com.
Okay.
Yes. So I was able to, based on like my grandparents' names, I was able to trace back to their parents who were like sharecroppers. And then even their parents' parents. Now, I don't really have documentation that they were like slaves, but I do know that that's in my lineage. So it was interesting to see like, okay, the names on the census, their ages at the time, where they lived. So I was able to trace that, but it would be nice. I've kind of researched some of the DNA sites that you can actually take a sample of your DNA and submit it. And they can trace like your roots from European and Africa and all of those other countries, and even down, I think, to your tribes and things like that. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So that's probably my next thing to do, is give that a shot.
That's pretty cool that you know like if there were slaves or not, but you just know that they worked in that area at that time.
Right.
Because I think there's a stereotype, it might be small, but it's like an assumption that someone makes that, oh, that person's black, their ancestors must have been slaves. But it's not true all the time, because they could have immigrated just recently from Africa or something, and they were never slaves at all. Right. So it's like a stereotype that still exists.
Yeah, and an interesting thing, too, especially when you have, like, cultures from, like, the islands and the eastern islands and things like that, you can kind of see, too, that a lot of them, like I learned in some of the studies, that some of the owners and people that enslaved them were actually the same race as well.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen a lot of that on like History Channel and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to see. Yeah.
Have you received any awards in your life for anything, or been recognized for anything?
Oh, absolutely. My first job when I was 15 was Chick-fil-A. So my first scholarship actually came from them. So that was a big achievement. And then other scholarships throughout my college career. I really wish, and I'm really going to instill this in my children, is to start early, like with scholarships and grants. Because I think as I got farther into my career, like college career, like my graduate degree, I got several scholarships. One from the American Health Information Management Association, which is like our organization for our credential. Like, you know how doctors have credentials, doctors, nurses. Well, RHIA, what I am, is a registered health information administrator. And the American Health Information Management Association is like the agency organization over those credentials. So I got a scholarship from them. I actually got a scholarship from our state association as well. So yeah, several scholarships have been very helpful.
Wow. Wow. You got so many scholarships. I think I only got one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I encourage everyone. It's free money, and so many, there's a lot out there where even I had to, in the back of my mind, I was like, I may not get it. You know? But you don't know till you try. And every single one I've applied for, I've got it.
Wow.
So I was like, my kids, I'm starting them young. I want their college to be paid by the time they're 18.
Follow your footsteps, yep. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, and I mean, look at, on your school database, a lot of the schools have their own, matter of fact, I did get one through UCF too.
Right.
Like based on your major or, again, different backgrounds you have, you can qualify. So I would say check their websites. And even nationally, there's databases that you can search for scholarships. So take advantage of it.
Because the only awards I've ever received were participation awards. I never really gained anything big.
Yeah.
And then just honor roll and principal.
Yeah.
Honor roll. Simple
yeah,
things.
They're out there. You just gotta do, like you said, research and dig for them. But when you find them, they'll be valuable. Trust me.
Thank you. So, what do you feel like you have contributed to this field in healthcare in general as well?
Well, I think, again, just building that rapport with patients, helping them. It just is great to see that I can do something so little as, if a patient needs records sent somewhere, or if they have a question about who to contact with a privacy concern. Just little things like that are really, I love to offer that help to the patients. And I can definitely tell by the feedback they've given me. Some of them actually went to the director. Some of them went to my boss and just said, I thank her so much. And it was things that didn't take no more than a few minutes of my time.
Right.
So just knowing I can do something with so little time and effort to help them, that makes my
rewarding.
job rewarding.
It's nice. So how was your life growing up as an African-American female child?
I would say it was pretty normal. My dad's a judge, so it was probably a little bit above the expected norm. I know with a lot of, African-American females, especially younger, they don't have a whole lot of their father in their life in most cases, or even their mother, parents. But I was fortunate enough to be raised by both my parents. And also be well-rounded with family, like my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. So I would say it was definitely a rewarding experience, and I learned a lot.
That's good.
Yeah,
because the stereotype, they'd be raising their own kids, 10 kids by themselves, different dads, and just stereotype.
Yeah,
that's out
and
there.
unfortunately, it is a stereotype, but at the same time, I personally know, friends that I went to school with in that situation where they have 6, 7 kids. Well, it's only one friend in particular, but they have 6 or 7 kids that different fathers, they're not married, and they're in a situation where, again, the stereotype actually is the truth in their situation. And unfortunately, when I compare my childhood with theirs, completely different. One of my friends, she was in a single parent home. She was kind of with her mom and her grandma, but her grandma was kind of in a situation where she was dependent on drugs and things like that. And then her mom was in a situation where she was, her sexual preference was different from the norm. So she had to experience not only probably the same stereotypes as a black girl, but her mom is also lesbian. So then that on top of that is kind of she's getting a lot of extra kind of stress and things like that as a child.
Right.
So, and then unfortunately as a result, the product of her adulthood now, she's kind of in that stereotype. So
I think it's because of the stereotype, or she probably didn't realize that she could grow out of that stereotype.
Exactly, I think so.
And being influenced by the people that she's around and the environment.
Exactly.
And pretty much the society.
Right. And I think, too, and I'm glad you said that, you do have to have that will to want to get out of your surroundings. And I think a lot of, especially African-American women, they feel that it's just the norm. It's just a continuing cycle, and it really doesn't have to be. I mean, you do have to want, change, but you have to take action at the same time. So
as you said, you didn't have any issues as an African American female child.
Right. Yeah, as a child, but I think getting to preteen and teen, as with any race and being a female, you deal with, especially that maturity age where you're going to school and you have, the kids. I mean, I personally didn't deal with bullying directly, but I do know other people have, and things like that. So,
what challenges have you faced as an African American woman, and how did you overcome them? The racial slurs, maybe being discriminated, being stereotyped, judged, whatever. If you felt directly or indirectly, maybe even through your kids too,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you even said that, because I do remember one time, and I was probably a teenager, where I dealt with something with a male of the opposite, race, who did say, derogatory comments towards me. And at that time, when you're a teen, it's kind of you take it seriously, but you kind of play with it as well. So obviously you handle it in a different way. But I think now that I'm much older and have kids, I haven't seen it quite frequently, but I do recall one time like my son was playing, or it might have been my daughter, was playing with another child of a different race, and the parent kind of seemed, a little like, I don't want my child playing with your child. So that was kind of interesting to see. Even now, we're in 2017, 2016, it's like, okay, come on, this is like ridiculous. But I do believe racism still exists, and it's not so much blatantly like you can see it on the outside, people calling each other names, but even just behind the scenes, what people are teaching their children and things like that. Obviously, what you see on TV and the internet, you can see, things happen.
But as you said, it's not like visual as much as it was probably back in the days, in older times, where they actually put posters and things against you and whatnot. So,
and even like I remember my grandma, because her age, she was raised in an era and seen in the era where civil rights movement, when they had the Jim Crow laws, she experienced, like even my mom, they experienced that, here in the South. So
is that what shaped you as a person that you are today, that strong independentness that you needed back in the days that you got today?
Because like my grandma, she's definitely that like independent, no nonsense. But my mom's a little bit more reserved, kind of more like, okay, this is how things are. But I definitely think both of them, because there's always the way you react to different situations that makes you as a person. Right. So if you react like crazy, every time something happens, obviously that's not going to help anybody. But if there's certain times to, stand up for your rights or be independent, which, I think I feel comfortable doing that, then it makes your life kind of much easier. So, yeah, and you can be more productive and things. So
that's true. So you already said that you took up some temporary jobs, like working in Chick-fil-A and stuff. Did you work anywhere else other than that?
Oh, in college? Oh, wow. One thing about like all my classmates in high school, you can say in college, I was like a workaholic.
Oh, no.
So, like high school, I worked in telemarketing. I worked in, obviously, Chick-fil-A. When I got to college, I did home health. I worked for the Orlando Magic, the basketball team, for a while, like in the retail department. I did a little telemarketing, real small stint of like working for AT&T customer service, maybe like 2 weeks. And then I really tried hard to get into the field like when I first moved there, because I was like, okay, I'm here for school. I want to try to get my foot in the door. So I did, other than my internships, like I did one internship at Hospice of the Comforter. I did another internship with the Health Information Management Systems Society, which is like an agency for like technology and healthcare. And and then I worked at Orlando Health and another medical center. So I started off like working weekends and like crazy second shift hours just to get my foot in the door. And then eventually I was able to get promoted to like your regular Monday through Friday day shift. So.
Wow, you've accomplished a lot in your life compared to I did. I did nothing.
Well, you're volunteering here and you're doing amazing. So that's a start. That's a start. Yeah. Because I mean, even something like volunteering, put on your resume. Department of Veteran Affairs is a huge agency. So I mean, just having that's a start. It really is. So.
Thank you. So, do you see any opportunities for growth and development for the future generations of African Americans?
Oh, absolutely. Again, the biggest thing is just making sure they're going in the right direction. Especially when it comes to education. I think you have got to have that, and that's for any woman. You've got to have that to compete in any field.
Definitely.
Because it's just, even with the male, it's hard to keep up, and even the salary you've seen in the news too. The
wage gap,
Exactly. So. But I think with education, and then again, just starting early with whatever profession you want to go into, I think anything's possible with hard work and dedication.
So what do you think the younger generations could learn from your life and work experiences, considering the struggle that they would face due to the male-dominated country that this is?
Well, I don't think it has to be a struggle. I just think being confident, knowing, if you have the education, if you have the experience, that you're an equal. I mean, there's, like I said, knowledge has no gender, or race. I mean, if you know the information, if you're good at it and you're dedicated to it, you shouldn't have any problems, and you shouldn't feel like you have any problems. And I think knowing your rights too, if you feel that you're in a situation where you're being, discriminated towards against, there are equal employment opportunity laws and protections out there. So if you know that as well, and you feel that you're in a situation where you're not being valued, I would take advantage of that, protection. But other than that, just again, if you know what you know, you've done your schooling and graduated and got your credentials, you just compete and ask for the best, and you should get it.
Nice advice.